High in the canopy of a narrow strip of forest between India and Bhutan lives a primate that Western science did not formally describe until the middle of the 20th century. It lives in one of the most intensively studied regions on the planet, and for a long time, we simply did not see it. The Golden Langur is a long-tailed, tree-dwelling monkey of the colobine family, the group of Old World monkeys that specialize in a diet of leaves. Its coat is the source of its name. In summer, it is cream-colored. In winter, as the light changes and the fur thickens, it deepens to a burnished gold. The species was first described for science in 1956 by the Indian naturalist Edward Pritchard Gee. His surname survives in its scientific name, Trachypithecus Gee. Golden langurs live in groups of roughly 3 to 40 individuals. They spend almost the entire day high in the forest canopy, the upper layer of the forest, where the leaves and fruit are, and they descend to the ground only rarely to drink or to lick up mineral salts from the earth. The strategy is a defensive one. At ground level, the forest is patrolled by Bengal tigers, leopards, and a range of smaller carnivores. For a medium-sized monkey, staying in the canopy is staying alive. This is a common pattern across the leaf-eating primates of Asia. It is also a pattern that makes them especially vulnerable to one particular kind of threat, not a predator, but the loss of the canopy itself. Like every member of the colobine subfamily, the golden langur has a digestive system built for one purpose: breaking down leaves. Most primates cannot eat leaves in quantity. Leaves are armored with cellulose, nutrient-poor, and full of plant defense compounds. The colobines solved this problem by evolving a 4-chambered, sacculated stomach, closer in structure to a cow's than to a typical monkey's. The first chamber ferments. Resident bacteria break down cellulose the monkey itself cannot digest and neutralize toxic compounds the trees produce in self-defense. The remaining chambers absorb the nutrients. Only after this fermentation can the animal extract enough energy from a diet of leaves to survive. The consequence is a monkey that spends most of its life chewing, digesting, and sitting quietly in the canopy. Leaf-eating primates have slower metabolisms, lower body temperatures, and longer rest periods than their fruit-eating cousins. Stillness for the golden langur is not laziness, it is the only sustainable pace. The golden langur's range is strikingly narrow. It is confined to a band of forest of only a few thousand square kilometers, running through western Assam in northeast India and into south-central Bhutan, a small fraction of the eastern Himalayan region in which it sits. The Himalayas as a whole stretch for some 2,400 kilometers, around 1,500 miles, and support several hundred mammal species. The golden langur occupies only a sliver of that length. It is one of the most geographically restricted primates in the world. The golden langur was visible. It lived in groups, in daylight, in the canopies of a well-watered region studied for centuries by tea planters, survey officials, and colonial naturalists. It had been observed by local people for generations and had names in Assamese and in Bhutanese. And yet, to Western zoology, it did not formally exist until the 1950s. Edward Pritchard Gee, a tea planter turned naturalist who had spent decades in Assam, first collected field observations of the species around the village of Jamdwar, near the Bhutan border, in the early 1950s. He noted that the brightest gold individuals occurred only in a narrow territory between two rivers, and that they were distinct from the darker-coated langurs elsewhere in northeast India. His 1956 paper in the Journal of the Bombay Natural History Society established the species. That a primate of this size, with this range, went formally undescribed by science until the middle of the 20th century is a reminder of how much of the natural world remains known locally long before it is known globally. Habitat loss, the clearing of forest for agriculture, settlement, and fuel, is the primary threat to the species. Because the langur depends on an unbroken canopy, even a narrow cleared road can fragment a population and isolate it from neighboring groups. The IUCN lists the golden langur as endangered. Current estimates place the total wild population in the low thousands. Conservation efforts in Bhutan and Assam are ongoing, but the range is small and the margin of safety is smaller. For a species that is still, in many ways, new to science, the window in which to understand it is not especially wide. The Golden Langur's entire range lies between two rivers, the Sangkash in Bhutan, the Manas in Assam. The IUCN lists the species as endangered. The wild population is in the low thousands. The forest between those two rivers is the only place this animal lives.